Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play the entirety of this video and then I'll go back and talk about things that are going on and things that I think that were done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
Hello, I'm Captain Jason Ramos, Commander of the Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Division. We're here today to provide our community information regarding a critical incident which occurred in Sacramento County and involved Sheriff's Office personnel. Today, you will learn about different procedures the Sheriff's Office utilizes in order to investigate cases involving use of force, obtain and preserve relevant evidence, and evaluate each individual incident. Please keep in mind, the Sheriff's Office takes the use of force by any employee very seriously. We conduct thorough investigations to ensure that the actions taken by all personnel are within the procedural standards of the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office and in compliance with state law. We are still in the early stages of this investigation, and our understanding of the facts and circumstances may change as we review more evidence and interview additional witnesses. The information contained within this video is based on what we know right now. Please note, we do not draw any conclusions based solely upon this video as to whether or not our employee acted within policy or state law. Our conclusions, rather, are based on the totality of the evidence that we have gathered at the time the investigation has been completed. We hope the content of this video serves as an educational tool for our community to promote the development of understanding and transparency within the communities we serve.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sergeant Tess Detterding, Public Information Officer for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. Today we're going to show you an overview of an incident which occurred in the suburb of Carmichael in the county of Sacramento on October 27, 2019. You will hear some of the original calls from citizens to the Sheriff's Office Communication Center, coupled with radio traffic and private surveillance video. We will start by providing you with some background information regarding exactly what led up to this incident. On October 27, 2019, at approximately 12:30 a.m., the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office Communication Center received a call from the 5800 block of Angelina Avenue in Carmichael. The caller indicated there was a vehicle that had crashed into a tree at that location and a male was waving a gun. Multiple additional callers stated a male and female were in a verbal altercation and provided a description of the subjects. Before moving forward, we will offer a word of caution. When a police officer uses force to arrest, gain control of a suspect, or defend against an attack, it can be difficult to watch. Some of the video you are about to see contains strong language in addition to graphic content, which may be disturbing to sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
911, what's your emergency?
Hi, there was just a couple outside of our house. They're arguing, and all we heard were tire screeches, and a car is now in a tree nearby. It just got crashed, and they're kind of arguing. It's on Angelina Avenue by Fair Oaks.
911, where's your emergency?
Angelina Avenue.
Angelina?
That's my address. The incident is next door. There was an auto accident.
Okay, anybody injured?
I don't know, but there could be soon because there's a black male who was involved in the incident waving a gun around at a female.
Okay.
That was also in the incident.
Okay, how many vehicles were involved?
One vehicle ran into a tree. And the guy's flipping out and waving a gun around at a female companion of his.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is...
And last name? Phone number?
Correct.
Okay. Just stay inside. Keep your doors locked, okay?
Yeah, of course.
The black male, how old does he look?
Mid-20s.
How tall is he and how much does he weigh?
I would guess he's probably about 6 foot, 170-ish, 175.
Okay. And what, how tall is he?
I'm guessing about 6 foot.
6 foot. And what's he wearing?
I didn't get close enough to wear a t-shirt and is it a white shirt? Yeah, it was a white t-shirt.
911.
Hi, there seems to be a domestic disturbance next to an apartment
Address?
complex.
Okay.
Hello?
What address? What's the address?
And
Street?
Angelina Avenue.
Oh, okay. And do you know what apartment number they're in?
No, they're on the street. Actually,
Outside?
there's a car. There's a car in the street, and this guy is going at it. With
Can you tell what he looks like, or are you just hearing them?
No, I can hear them. It's dark, and the lights are hazards are flashing on the car.
Private surveillance video told the story of what occurred prior to deputies' arrival on scene. Just after 12:30 a.m., the suspect is seen pulling the victim, his girlfriend, towards an apartment, kicking an apartment door, and physically assaulting the female victim while holding a gun in his left hand.
Nah, nigga. Hold my mama. You got the bullet caught on me. I didn't do shit. Lock your door. Hey, when they come, I'm going.
For the next few minutes, neighbors assisted women and children in the apartment to a place of safety next door.
Me.
Listen to her. Nigga, you're not gonna be able to help me. If I'm not down, don't move.
You broke my car. Why you doing that weird shit?
Ernest, stop.
None of these events or details were reported to the sheriff's office at the time they were occurring. Deputies were unaware of the gravity of the circumstances as they arrived on scene.
Yeah, bro, fix this shit. Stop running. Fix this shit, nigga. I can't even move my car. You ran over. You did that again.
When the suspect returned to the apartment, he had replaced the standard magazine in his handgun with a 50-round drum magazine, seen in his hand here. At approximately 12:40 a.m., deputies arrived. A female ran from an apartment and directed the deputies' attention to the doorway where the suspect and victim were standing. She also alerted deputies that the suspect had a gun. The deputies gave directives to the female victim, who was standing near an apartment. The female victim had her hands in the air and began walking away from the apartment.
Nah, bruh.
Ernest, go in the house. Right. Go upstairs. Upstairs.
As the female victim moved away from the apartment, the suspect emerged and opened fire on the female victim, executing her in front of the deputies. As the suspect emerged and began firing, all three deputies on scene fired their weapons at the male suspect immediately, attempting to stop him from killing the female victim. The suspect was struck by the deputies' gunfire.
Nah, bruh.
Ernest, go in the house. Right. Go upstairs.
Fire personnel responded and pronounced the female victim and male suspect deceased at the scene. A Glock handgun with a 50-round drum attached was recovered from the suspect, seen here in this photo. The suspect has been identified as 25-year-old Earnest Wesley Easterling of Sacremento. In 2016, Easterling was arrested in the state of Nevada for possession of a concealed firearm, possession of marijuana, and possession of a gun with an altered serial number. He was not convicted on any gun-related charges, which allowed him to legally purchase the firearm used in this incident in 2017. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, there are resources available to you. If you are not in immediate danger and you would like information related to these resources, please call our non-emergency line at 916-874-5115 or use the numbers here seen on your screen. We hope this video provided you some insight into the complexities of policing and some of the situations sheriff's deputies encounter while keeping our community safe. For more information about the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, please visit our website at www.sacsheriff.com. On behalf of the men and women of the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, thank you for watching.
All right, let's get into it. So I'll start off by saying, I really bet that this guy has probably said that the police murder people for no reason. And it probably talks some shit. And yet he himself has murdered a woman for absolutely no reason. No good reason. Miscreants like this, it it kind of gets under my skin sometimes when you know people like this shit continuously talk shit about the police and insinuate that the police are murderers and they just go out just killing people for the fun of it. When and then they're racist and the police are racist and they go around killing black people. When in reality, it's assholes like this who say that kind of shit who are the ones going out and killing people for no damn good reason. And then what's even more unnerving about it is the other thousands of mindless morons who believe this shit and will listen to jackasses like him. And oh yeah, he's speaking that truth, bro. Facts, church, yeah. But we'll turn a blind eye to this kind of shit that goes on and won't talk about it, won't call him out, but they'll talk shit about all the police in this country who put their fucking lives on the line every single day and night to keep people safe. That annoys the shit out of me. This little turd, he gets drunk and some type of argument, some type of dispute occurs between him and his woman. They're in some type of relationship. She, for whatever reason, gets into his car and takes off and crashes it into a tree. So looking at the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office release on this, this was released in December 21 of 2020. So this incident itself occurred 10/27/2019. The Sacramento County District Attorney's Office released their findings on December 21st, 2020. Go in here and look through it. Factual summary: on October 26, 2019, Earnest Easterling and Chanel Brown were in a dating relationship. About 8 p.m. on that date, they went together to a friend's apartment at the Eagles Nest Apartments at 5737 Angelina Avenue in Carmichael, California, for a social gathering. The gathering was in apartment 32. The complex is a two-story, multi-unit apartment complex located near Fair Oaks Boulevard and Stanley Avenue. other adults and children were present at this gathering as the guest participated in a seafood boil. According to witnesses, both Easterling and Brown were also drinking vodka. The gathering continued past midnight into the morning of October 27, 2019. A witness who was present inside the apartment stated that at some point after midnight, Easterling's mood changed and he became angry. Miss Brown attempted to talk to Easterling and calm him down. Brown and Easterling exited and re-entered the apartment several times. According to witnesses, at approximately 12:30 a.m., Brown and Easterling were arguing in the parking lot outside the apartment complex near Easterling's silver Chevy Malibu. During the argument, Easterling returned to apartment 32. As Easterling did so, Miss Brown entered the driver's seat of Easterling's car, made a U-turn, and crashed the car into a tree across the street. This enraged Easterling. He returned to the car and removed a black handgun from behind the driver's seat. Easterling struck Brown with his hands and the gun and also pointed the gun at her. Two different witnesses also reported that Easterling pointed the gun at them as well. As he did so, Easterling asked one of the witnesses, "Are you calling the police?" The witness returned to her apartment and closed the door. An eyewitness called 911 at approximately 12:32 a.m. and reported that the vehicle had crashed into a tree and that a black male was flipping out and waving the gun at a female passenger, which we heard that part in the 911 call. Before sheriff's deputies arrived, Easterling's threatening behavior continued. A witness saw Easterling push Brown down on the ground and point his gun at Brown's head. Easterling declared that he was going to get his 50. Then he said, "If the cops come, you are all dead." Talks about the deputies who arrived. So I'll save some of this for a little bit later. So who knows what the argument started about? And it doesn't really matter. This guy's actions were way over the top, but in a fit of drunken rage, he gets his gun. He's threatened to kill people, threatened to kill his girlfriend, and he he put it on his mama. He says, "On my mama, that he'll kill her," and sure enough, he did. She had, while he was inside, she was outside. She had the opportunity to flee from this area. Now, I'm not, victim shaming or anything like this, but she had the opportunity to make some distance and get away from there. It's unfortunate that she didn't do that. If she had started beating feet and just even running towards the police or running off to the side somewhere while this guy was gone and out of immediate reach of her, things could have been different for her. But obviously, she was drinking as well, so she probably was not having a very clear mindset. And was probably just like everyone else, thinking, "Oh, nothing serious is going to happen. This won't happen to me. Nothing bad's going to happen." So she's trying to de-escalate him, keeping him safe, keeping him inside. And I can only assume that she thinks in her head that she's going to go out there and talk to the police and smooth things over and nothing's going to happen.
As the female victim moved away.
So he just comes out super fast. And let me pass the commentary part and just go straight into the real-time footage.
Nah, bruh. I just don't in the house. Go upstairs.
So he runs up on her and he executes her. So going back to the release from the district attorney's office, let's take a look here. I have to read down real quick. There's a lot of stuff to read through. Okay, so the autopsies were performed on both Miss Brown and Easterling. Miss Brown's official cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. Specifically, she was struck 5 times to the left breast, right knee, back of the neck, and twice in the back. One of the 2 wounds to the back is consistent with a hard contact wound, which is a wound inflicted when the muzzle of a gun is held tightly against the body at time of discharge. They determined that Easterling's official cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. He was struck 9 times to the mouth, torso, left flank, upper back, left buttock, left foot, twice in the left thigh, and once in the head. Now, that is all the details that it gives about the wounds. So she was shot 5 times to the left breast, right knee, back of the neck, and twice in the back. One of the 2 wounds to the back is consistent with a hard contact wound, which is a wound inflicted when the muzzle of the gun is held tightly against the body at time of discharge. That's it. That's all the details it gives. Now, in that quick amount of time, could he have fired 5 rounds into her? Yes. Very, very plausible. Could have been done very easily. Now, is there a possibility that some of the police bullets missed this guy and actually hit her? That's a possibility as well. But there's no details offered in this. So, you can't say a whole lot about it without, information there. But I will say that it's a possibility that some of their rounds missed him, and maybe 1 could have hit her, or maybe 2 could have hit her. Don't know. That's a possibility. But even if that did happen, it still doesn't change the fact that this guy just ran up on her and executed her because the police came there because of what he says was her actions. The police are a considerable distance away, firing handguns. So I don't know how many times the police fired. I believe there was some information up here about casings. So 25 spent 9mm Luger shell casings were found. 18 were found in the roadway directly across from apartment 32. 7 were found on the sidewalk at the southwest corner of the apartment complex. These are the 2 areas where the 3 officers fired their weapons. So, the police fired 25 times. And the bad guy was struck 9 times. He was shot 9 times. There were 7 spent .40 caliber casings that were recovered in the front of apartments 31 and 32. So the bad guy fired a total of 7 rounds from his .40 caliber gun. The victim, was shot 5 times. It doesn't specify what calibers she was hit with, but she was struck 5 times, and the bad guy was struck 9 times. So police fired 25 rounds, bad guy hit 9 times. Now some of you may be thinking, holy shit. And yeah, that's, yeah, holy shit. But that happens. That happens quite often in gunfights, especially when you're dealing with pistols. Pistols are not, they're not all that accurate, especially when there's distance involved. And it's not like they're a football field away, but they're at a pretty good distance. They're kind of, it's really hard to say for sure the distance involved in this, but they're kind of at that range where they should be using rifles. And anytime that there is a call involving gunplay, where the person is said to have had a gun, then a rifle should be brought to that scene. If there is the prospect for a potential gunfight, you want to bring a rifle. A rifle outperforms a pistol all day long, every day of the week. No questions asked. They're far more accurate, and they're far more deadly. There are quite a few people who survive every year from gunshot wounds involving pistols. And that's just because pistol ammunition, it just kind of sucks. But it is a whole lot more comfortable and convenient to carry a pistol every hour of the day, every single day of the week, every week of the month, every month of the year, for multiple years, than it is to carry a rifle for that same amount of time. You can go 8, 10, 12 hours out of the day working with a pistol on your side and not think much of it. Be very comfortable, and it's very convenient. If you tried to carry around a rifle for 8, 10, 12 hours every single day at work, that shit would get that would become very cumbersome. The rifles, they're not convenient, they're not comfortable. If you've ever worn a slung rifle for 8 hours out of the day, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you've had to go for any length of time with a rifle slung or perform tasks with a rifle slung, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those who don't, think about your options for how you sling a rifle. Single point. If you've worn a single point for, several minutes, imagine, having to wear that thing for hours at a time, and the hot spots around your neck that it would create. And then, obviously, single point rifle hanging down in front of you the entire time, that's not going to work, right? There's just certain things you got to do throughout the day at work that having a rifle there right to your front, it's just not doable. So then you got 2-point sling. And, there's different ways of wearing the 2-point sling. You can transition it to your front, similar to a 1-point when you need it. But any other time, you're going to sling it to your back. And, not always is it nice and compact like that. The barrel kind of sticks out to the side. So you could be walking down the hallway, scraping the muzzle against the wall, banging in the door frames, turn really quick, knock over the coffee pot, hit the computer monitor on the desk, and then, getting in and out of the vehicle. You're going to take this rifle off, stow it in between the seat and the console. Are you going to transition into a 1-point style and drive around with it like that on? Just try to think about doing a 8-hour shift doing police or security work and having a rifle on you the entire time. It's going to be cumbersome. It's going to be inconvenient. It's not comfortable at all. That's the reason why we carry pistols all the time. You can do all that shit with a pistol on your side, no problem. But pistol ammunition doesn't always perform very well. Yeah, people die from pistol ammunition a lot, but there's also a lot of people that don't die from it, or are not immediately incapacitated by them. Rifle cartridges. Now, granted, there are some few people who have survived hits from rifle, but there is a lot less of them who survive than the people who survive from pistol caliber. So, long guns are really good at putting people down and putting them down from a distance safely. So if you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles as well. 25 rounds fired by the police, bad guy struck 9 times. Where did those other rounds go? I wish this report would have specified exactly where they went. Now, I don't know the open records laws in that state. I mean, it's plausible that you could do the open records request and get the reports from the advanced crime scene processors and the autopsy stuff, and see exactly what caliber rounds were found in each victim and where other bullet holes were found and stuff like that. I don't just have the time to do that. I wish I did, because I would definitely do it and do more in-depth studies of these kind of things. But it really makes you wonder, where did those other rounds go? If they fired 25 rounds and only 9 hit the bad guy, where did the other rounds go? And that's why I'm a big proponent of getting a rifle out when there's potential for gunplay involved. You can be more accurate with that rifle than you can with that pistol. And instead of firing, multiple rounds from pistol, if you've trained good on the rifle, you might need 1 or 2 shots from that rifle to put a person down. And those 2 rounds that you fire for sure go into that target versus the 5 or 6 that you fire out of your pistol in rapid succession and maybe only 1 hits. And then of that 1 that hits, it doesn't even incapacitate them. So rifles are better than pistols. So this dude had been previously caught in Nevada for, let's go back to what they said.
As 25-year-old Ernest Wesley Easterling of Sacremento. In 2016, Easterling was arrested in the state of Nevada for possession of a concealed firearm, possession of marijuana, and possession of a gun with an altered serial number. He was not convicted on any gun-related charges, which allowed him to legally purchase the firearm used in this incident in 2006.
So why was he not convicted? That's a really good question. Really good question. I don't know the guy's criminal background. I don't know if he had any prior arrests before 2016. Or if he had a really good attorney, or if he snitched on some people and got a good plea deal, or what. Like, I don't know the circumstances involved in that. But this is not uncommon when it comes to the criminal justice system involving the courts. So this guy had the concealed weapon, possession of the defaced firearm, and the marijuana stuff, and was not convicted at all for it. something's wrong there. The fact that he could have got caught with all that and then nothing stuck. Something's wrong with that. And would it have prevented him from getting a gun? Because he had no convictions whatsoever, he was able to legally purchase this gun from a federal firearms license dealer. If he had been convicted of those things in Nevada and he was no longer able to legally buy a handgun, would that have prevented him from actually getting a handgun and being in possession of a handgun that night and killing his girlfriend? It's a good question. I don't really think it would have prevented him from possessing a gun. I would say that this dude probably still would have gotten a gun as a felon, as many convicted felons do already today. Many of them, many convicted felons who are not allowed to possess guns, go out and get guns. Now, they don't go get them legally from a gun store. They get them through other means. But they're still felons and they still get guns. So if this guy had been convicted and had any kind of felony charges, there's still a possibility he could have gotten a gun, just not this particular one. But what if the conviction prevented him from getting this gun and he didn't get any illegal guns? Well, that girl would still be alive and he would be alive too. So that is that the courts, man. Like, the police do a good job in catching people and locking them up, but then the courts just turn around and do the craziest shit and let people go. And they let them go for nothing. Like, not even hardly a slap on the wrist. And, at some point, we're going to have to ask ourselves, who are we more at danger from? Are we more at danger from the street criminals? Or are we more at danger from the judges who let these street criminals go time after time after time? Who is a more clear and present danger? The gangsters on the streets or the judges? That's a damn good question, and I'll let you be the judge of that one. Of course, no other footage is available in this incident, no body cam footage or anything like that. We don't get to see any medical treatment being rendered. Of course, he's got according to the report, one gunshot wound to the head. So even if they've gotten to him, they could have seen an obvious sign of death and decided not to render any medical aid to him. As far as her, it doesn't really specify other than the locations where the bullets went from the outside. It doesn't specify, where they went on the inside of her body. So she could have been dead right there on the scene, or some medical aid could have been rendered, and then she ended up dying. It's not exactly clear what happened, but, the talk of medical gear needs to come into play. You should always have medical gear on you for using on you, your partners, or your loved ones in the event something happens. And then all your extra medical gear, your supplemental medical gear, can be in your vehicle, and that is the stuff that you would use on other people. But of course, you need to know how to use that medical equipment. Not much else to say about this. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.